On today's episode of the Glue Guys,
Yeah.
Ryan.
The Nets are truly back, Michael. Reactions, hot takes, cold water, hot water, all different flavors of water coming up next on the Glue Guys.
Welcome back to the Glue Guys. This is Mike here. Say hello, Ryan.
Hello.
Check us out on Twitter at BK Glue Guys. NetsDaily.com. The Athletic. Get yourself on the paywall at theathletic.com/Glue Guys. A subsidiary of the New York Times Company
Of America.
Ryan.
Michael, give me a drop.
The Nets are back.
You don't have the drops ready because you're vacationing again.
Yeah, I'm totally unprepared. I'm vacationing in the cosmos for the YouTube audience.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally doxing myself. I haven't even put on my blur background yet. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're just your disgusting monitor.
Yeah.
And your JFK conspiracy poster, Brian.
Michael.
We had basketball. Basketball.
Let's get into it. We don't have to bury the lead with talks of film, of cinematic universes. We can just hop right into, although I did start the Jeffrey Dahmer show on Netflix. It's pretty spooky, Mike. You won't like it. But
I have no interest in. There's enough Dahmer content. All right.
Yeah.
There's been more movies about Dahmer than Abraham Lincoln.
That's
at this
true.
point.
That's true. But he is compelling. Anyways, Mike, what did you take? Big takeaways, hot takes. Fire them off. Give it to me. Did you like what you saw? Oh, you liked it.
Pure joy.
You liked what
Brian.
you saw.
I liked seeing basketball.
You enjoyed your time.
This has been a summer of disgusting headlines, right? It's just been Kevin Durant trade requests, Kyrie thinking about leaving for the minimum or mid-level exception. Ben Simmons, is he healthy? Is he not? The Queen dies.
Yeah.
And yet, so it's been tough. We had basketball.
Yeah.
We had basketball on Monday. We were recording this Tuesday at 1:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am still buzzing off of that Ben Simmons. I am lit up like a candle.
I
on
do
Hanukkah,
feel
my
energized.
friend.
As much as when the season comes to an end, it's kind of a drag. Like last season was rough, and we were like for maybe 3 weeks. I was like, I'm glad to like have a little bit of a break, and then I quickly just started to degenerate into playing lots of competitive Valorant, and I was like, I need basketball back. What am I going to do with my time? This ain't it. So I am thrilled. And hey, it was pretty fun. The hot take that I had in the 5 previous episodes that we had to churn out with nothing to talk about was about how this team purports to be more fun to watch. And I think that was at least, we checked off that box because it was at least more fun to watch. Would you agree?
Yeah, and before we even get anything, of course.
Sorry, am I going too hard, too fast?
No. I was
My
just going to
mistake.
say caveat.
My mistake.
It's the first preseason game. It's the preseason opener. The Nets were down by a remarkable amount of points.
But that's the part that I don't
in this game. Yeah, I just want people to say, "Oh, the Nets were losing by 40." Okay, yeah, sure, whatever it was, don't care. We're gonna have fun with it. We're gonna have fun because it was basketball, and we're gonna take away the positives as much as we can. And here are the positives, Brian. I am fully on board with the Ben Simmons experience. He is infinitely a fun injector into this Nets turkey.
Yeah,
we're injecting some flavor into this Nets turkey because here's the thing that Ben Simmons does: he can defend any player on the floor. He can grab a rebound, take it down the floor. He makes really fun passes, and it's also a sideshow to see when he takes a jumper.
Yeah,
what is it going to do?
That is a bit of a sideshow.
He's pure enjoyment.
He has something that is a really interesting sort of paradox, which is this, kind of a reputation, obviously, for not showing up due to the last year. And yet he's the kind of guy that does like chase down transition defense literally every play. It's weird that oftentimes you get these like kind of whatever Pat Beverly type players who have that reputation. And then are also sort of having this reputation for being a dogged, just wanting to play, just a real gamer. And Ben doesn't have that reputation, but he does have the gamer gene. And he plays games on Twitch, so he's a gamer in all the ways. He plays COD.
I legitimately, for a few thoughts that ran through my head as this game began. One, and I said this on the Daily Ding on the Athletic NBA show, which you can check out. I was on today's or tomorrow's broadcast.
Check it out right after this.
I don't know when it runs. I'm just doing media all over the place. I'm like Miles Teller at this point with the amount of media I'm doing. Ben is big. Straight out. Big dude. I forgot how large of a human he is, particularly for his skill set.
Yeah.
Which just seeing it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like just seeing, okay, yes. So we start out with Claxton, Simmons, and Kevin Durant, which we'll talk about potentially here, this lineup that began. That's a big front court. We got from a team that used to put out like the tiniest, minusculest of people, and then Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Now we have three biggies, just three big old boys.
And some mediums. I mean,
paint.
Joe Harris out there. We got mediums as well. We got a nice variety, finally.
We're a J. Crew outlet.
Yeah.
Totally. You know, we got your small, medium, larges, and extra larges. We got them all for you. I don't know why that's the first store that pops in my head. Because actually, J. Crew outlet, you have limited sizes because it's an outlet. So I love that. And also, again, I'm trying not to get too excited, but this is our job today, is to be, at least for me, to be excited.
Well, it's not like it wasn't exciting. I mean, obviously, you know, we did the caveat with like the scoreboard, whatever. Who cares? You know, capital W, who cares? There was a lot to like. I mean, there's also a lot to not like about the Ben Simmons thing. We can get into the nitty gritty if you're ready to go there. I mean, I'm ready to get into it. If you're ready. I don't know. You gave me a sigh like you might not be ready.
No, throw it on the cold water. The only thing
it's not cold water. It's
this
is going to be positives layered in. It's going to be analysis, you know, just even keeled analysis.
Well, we're just fans, Brian, according to the Brooklyn Nets PR staff.
Don't do this.
We're not real reporters.
Okay.
No. We're just we're just two fans just shooting the shit about the team.
Mike has some grievances.
No reason to want to maybe give us a player because we've been doing this pod for a decade, Brian.
Yeah.
No. Why would you help the glue guys out to celebrate your team and to bring a great conversation around your team?
Mike,
you wouldn't want to do that because we're just stupid fans.
It's because you're a wild
according
card,
to
Mike.
Nets PR.
You're a wild card and can't be trusted, and I co-sign on that sentiment. Just kidding. Love you. What I was going to say about Ben Simmons, and not to bury, because we can air the grievances. That could be. We can do that. The issue that. Well, I like Ben Simmons for two reasons. One, I'll just say the key thing is that we didn't have a lot of people that played well in relative chaos last year. Like, if a James Harden play broke down, he does not have what it takes to go scramble after a loose ball and make something interesting happen. Or if a play breaks down, you know, just kind of like feel something out, make a clever pass. Like, occasionally he could do that, but it's not a real like read and react type situation. He's got two things that he wants to do, which is, you know,
go to the strip club and eat a whole lot of carbs.
And eat carbs. But Ben Simmons and to a lesser extent, but with some good effect, Nick Claxton, they kind of do thrive where things get sloppy and break down, and that's, you know, there's some utility in that, although you don't want to see things break down as often as they were. It's also super fun to watch. Like, making plays out of a chaotic scenario is super fun, and something that we just never did last season as far as I can remember. You know, because Kyrie and Kevin Durant, pretty surgical players. It's not like there's going to be a whole lot of chaos in an offensive set where they're, you know, mostly leading the ball. And Alex Sturm, I think, highlighted correctly that Steve Nash, if we're going to give him credit for anything, which this is my one little sliver of it, did do a good thing in terms of trying to just integrate Ben Simmons right away so that he doesn't get steamrolled. It's like the first, 15 possessions, very much not Kyrie and KD centric. Like, we know what that looks like. We can go to that whenever. Those are our trump cards. Great. Let's see if we can actually build a system. That being said, the system looked foul. It was not good. That part of it wasn't good. And Ben Simmons, I get it. He's rusty. He's playing with a bunch of new people, so on and so forth. Had a couple of situations where he was just picking up the dribble for no reason at the top of an offensive set and just kind of like being sort of stuck in no man's land without a dribble, things like that. Preseason.
Yeah, that was very weird.
Yeah,
why that was even happening? Like, yeah, that's
just like rhythm stuff. I feel like
rust.
Yeah, that's China rust. And then just generally speaking, on the whole, like the level of athleticism, a bit like the physicality, all that seems to be perfectly fine. I've got no doubts that after by November or December, whatever, when he can get the rhythm back, that his physicality will be there in spades the way that we've expected it to be. I don't have any like lingering doubts about mobility, anything so on and so forth, back related, because those can be tricky. But Mike, we've gone over that in detail over the years with my own journey into back health. So, but
a pioneer in the back health arts.
Yeah. But what did you think, Mike? I've been talking.
No, I think it's funny that you bring up the picking up the dribble thing because it happened a couple of times. You're like, why is he doing it? Like he crosses the half court line,
And
he
it was
just
a
kinda
weird,
stopped.
it was a weird kind of picking up the dribble too, or it was like sort of like it could have been just like it's like like he was expecting somebody to be cutting when they weren't, or like picking up a pass for him, and I don't know. There's a lot of those kind of like drop off passes that they do just generally, so maybe he was just expecting somebody to be curling around him and being there, but yeah, it just wasn't happening.
One time he called for like Nick Claxton to come up and get the ball basically at half court after he was like trapped by Tobias Harris. I'm like,
No.
Ben, you should know enough to know that that's not
Nick
what Nick Claxton should be doing.
Still can't catch a bounce pass, so we gotta work on a lot of those types of things.
I totally I love your point about Simmons thriving in chaos, and that's what's so intoxicating about the idea of Ben Simmons on this team. I mean, we've been talking about this forever. Honestly, like the idea that Ben Simmons could be a net, you and I have been talking about for years, even before the Harden Simmons rumors. We've been talking about the possibility, and it was so exciting to see it because on one play he's guarding Tyrese Maxey, and then he's shifting down to play center, and then he brings the ball up on offense, as you said, with like the Alex Sturm point of KD and Kyrie really deferring to Simmons to kind of make him feel comfortable, give him that chance to really get his feet wet, dangling those Crocs into the water as he was. But then also there's a great play. I mean, Claxton was interesting because there was the play where Claxton got the offensive rebound, was trying to find a way to score around the bucket, couldn't do it, but patiently waited, and Simmons cut to the basket. Claxton hits him with the pass, score, bucket. Everyone cheers. There's a parade outside on Flatbush Avenue. I mean, it was really a really elating moment for the Nets there. He is the idea of Ben Simmons, and what we saw wasn't perfect, of course. It really could help this team because we talked about this last year. The Nets had like the least efficient offense with the best players.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything was KD, Kyrie solo acting. Like everything was stressed. There was no Joe Harris getting you sort of like the easy open threes, meaning that he was open from three and he was knocking down the buckets. Yeah, Patty Mills was there and Seth Curry was there, but even that was disjointed. Patty Mills declined at certain parts of the season. Everything was inefficient. It was mid-range. There was no true post. There was no pick and rolls, getting the easy buckets off of putbacks. What Ben Simmons represents is transition buckets, getting turnovers on the defensive end and bringing them forward, buckets in the paint. And he did this in the game, and he had a couple of great passes where he's controlling the ball. It's not even that he's going to the bucket. He's controlling the ball somewhere near the free throw line, and he's throwing darts to Royce O'Neal or Joe Harris.
Yeah, skip passes. How long has it been since we've seen a skip pass?
Like, as great as Kevin Durant and Kyrie are, and like they're both very, very good passers, they aren't that kind of passer. That's what like Harden was for this team, where it was seeing the whole floor, doing the skip pass, as you said. And that's going to be a huge difference. I mean, like the shots that Joe and Royce got from three, from the corner, again, it wasn't Ben Simmons sucking in the defense. Like how like Giannis can just bring in an entire defense and then he passes it out. It was just Ben Simmons seeing like there's 3 feet of space between Joe and his defender. Throw him quick pass, put it up, right? Yeah. Goes in, doesn't go in, whatever. But he's making that pass. He represents a massive amount of easy buckets. Potentially. Of course, there's the caveat. I feel like I can't like talk about him positively without.
Well, that's why we're professional analysts, Mike. You know, it's not just going to be pure right down the middle fandom on this podcast. You're going to get it in equal doses. That's what we bring to the table.
You are Tim Legler and I'm Kendrick Perkins. We've always said that about ourselves, even before Kendrick Perkins was an NBA player.
And also like the downstream effects of just like that kind of ticky-tacky play. Like, I don't know that we've even talked about it on the show. If we have, it's not enough. But, you know, Kevin Durant's playmaking like was pretty stellar last year compared to previous years. And I'm imagining a sort of second phase of his career now where he's starting to prioritize. I mean, he had that one like ridiculous pass to Royce O'Neal, who's doing a back cut where he like did a one-handed sort of sling pass around his defender that had backspin on it. It was like really like an amazing pass. And like, anyways, just I think like when you start to the downstream effects of this is once people start to know that everyone's cutting, it just has everyone kind of have their playmaker brain on, in a way that just wasn't happening last year.
Right, and that's you talk about that as like that's the classic problem with having a James Harden type offense is that what ends up happening is it's Harden working with a big for a pick and roll, and then just everyone else is like in a triangle out by the 3-point line, just it's like not moving.
Yeah.
Now Royce O'Neal it's preseason basketball, so I'm not like ragging on Royce O'Neal, but there was a moment when I think he was playing with Simmons and some of the bench guys. And Royce O'Neal was in the corner, and his hands were literally just like straight down. He was watching the play, and there was all this other activity from the Nets offensively, and Royce O'Neal was just like standing there, not moving 1 inch. Again, preseason basketball, don't care.
Well, you're already out on Royce O'Neal. My God, that took no time at all. That was it.
I have some fears about what I saw last night. I don't know how hard I should be. How about this? Let's take a break.
Oh.
I'll consider how hard I should go in on the Nets.
Yeah, take a moment to think about it.
And we're back, Brian. This is, again, one preseason game. I'm not calling for Steve Nash to be fired. The only thing I'll say is this.
Don't think of an elephant. That's what just go ahead.
Even the Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid and James Harden seem to have a more structured offensive system than your Brooklyn Nets. And again, the team wasn't – you're not going to run your full offensive complement. This team wouldn't even be able to if it wanted to. They're incorporating Ben Simmons. They're incorporating Royce O'Neal. They're trying to figure out all these new pieces together. Again, this is not – there are no pitch axes or pitchforks calling for Steve Nash to be fired. But here's what I saw was there were so many possessions where we talk about like it was just disjointed and there was no flow. Again, it's early, but like the whole thing about Steve Nash is why he was hired was like he was this offensive genius as a player, right? So you figure that translates, and I think we're learning more and more what you are as a player has no impact on what you will be as a coach. Mm-hmm. I think that is defined. I think about Jason Kidd, how he was a failure in Brooklyn as a coach. He was a failure in Milwaukee as a coach, and he's done a great job in Dallas. It took Jason Kidd a long time to figure out how to be a good coach. Steve Nash, it's like, we understand your boy Igor, the new assistant coach, is that's your guy.
That's my guy.
You pinpointed him as being a difference maker on the coaching staff.
I think so.
And he looked like a difference maker on the sidelines. He looked like he was eagle-eyed, locked on about what was happening offensively. I just hope we get more of a system this year. Less of, hey, KD get a bucket, hey, Kyrie get a bucket, hey, Ben, just drive to the hoop and see if people are open on the outside. Like, I really would love a little bit of a pick and roll. I would love some movement off ball.
It's a little bit personnel, though. Like, the pick and roll, like, I was even, like, watching Ben Simmons in the post, and he gets fronted by tiny players and will not doesn't fight for that entry pass. Like, Ben Simmons still, and I don't want to start this whole narrative yet, and I don't mean for it to be this way, but but like in terms of like post play, like, and this kind of dovetails into a larger issue of we just don't have a center. Like, who's going to be the pick and roll guy? I mean, we have Claxton, sure. Again, he's got his limitations. I think, honestly, and I love Nick Claxton, and I hope the best for him. I think he's got a high enough ceiling. It still feels like he might be a backup center on a good team. I don't know that that's our solution to the pick and roll. Like, so what I'm trying to say is it's kind of a personnel thing. Not a whole lot of capable pick and roll partners, even if we did want to run such offense.
I mean, I liked what I saw out of Claxton last night. He's not.
Again, that's not to say
you hate Nick Claxton. No, you hate him.
First O'Neal and Nick Claxton, get off the team. Just kidding. No, I love those guys. And not, well, I'm learning to love. I do love Nick Claxton. May fall in love with Royce. Yet to be seen. And I think like Nick Claxton, as far as like pick and roll partners goes, like we're making the best with what we have. But is he outside of actually just rim running, there's not a lot that he can do in the pick and roll. So like it's a little bit easier to defend than if you had pick X good, pick and roll player. So there's it's just not a natural fit for us. And so it puts even a little bit more of a load on the coaching staff to adapt something that's like in between. Cause like, and one of those things could be that it's like, we did some fast breaking for the first time ever, in the last 2 years. And that was really encouraging to see. It looked like somewhat natural. I just think, I don't know. Do you agree that like the center issue is an actual issue, or you're like, like whatever, we'll patchwork it together with Dayron and Claxton?
Well, I mean, I think ultimately the best version of this team, except for a select few centers that may be available, is still Ben Simmons at the 5, KD at the 4, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, and Kyrie. Like,
well, can I add like a little because like that's true on defense.
No, you said your piece. No. That's not how this works. Okay, I don't know if you're on debate team.
I'm debating you. I'm debating you right now.
Okay.
That's true on defense, but on offense, Ben Simmons is your point guard, which makes it so that now your pick and roll partner is either going to be Kevin Durant, which is that's a good, more of a pick and pop kind of guy.
Pick and pop,
and then
Redenbacher style offense,
and then Nick Claxton, who is a pick and rim run.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I understand you're attaching yourself to this pick and roll. I mean, that's not what I am saying, Brian.
I'm digging into the details. I'm getting in the weeds here. All right.
If you're ready for it. No, so we talk about, is center a problem, right? And Nick Claxton isn't the perfect center, though I like his potential, and I am still fascinated to see how it plays out this season, because I'm fascinated to see. It's like he is a microcosm of the Nets, where on one end, on the defensive end, his ceiling is so high. And on the offensive end, it's not that it's like awful, because he is athletic and he can rise above and dunk. And he has a little craftiness in passing, though it's not as crafty as I think he believes it is. But because he's such a bad shooter, and because Simmons is such a bad shooter, that is dramatically limiting. But so talk about this. I think I was kind of saying this.
I feel like I'm winning this debate, and you're helping me along.
I think, again, the best version of this team is Simmons at the 5 with KD, Kyrie, and 2 other shooters, whether it be Joe, Seth, Patty, Royce O'Neal, right? I think that is always going to be the closing lineup. That'll be the way the games close. Nick Claxton will basically never be out on the floor at the end of games, unless if he's having this like incredible performance defensively that makes it impossible to take him off the floor.
Which, and not to distract you, I kind of noticed a little bit of indecisiveness in a way that I haven't seen from Nick Claxton, playing a little bit more conservatively defensively, even as like, we kind of have this conception of him as super switch bro. Like on like 3 occasions, like there was moments where he could have doubled a shooter and it would have worked, or like he just like there was a little bit of out of rhythm in general. I'm sure that'll come back, but I don't want to do negatives, because in general there is a lot of good things, but there was a little bit of stuff that I would want to tweak, improve on. That's not the worst thing. Constructive criticism, like, come on,
say it right now. Bruce Brown or Nick Claxton? Who would you rather have kept this offseason?
Remember those debates, my God.
Bruce Brown. I'll say it. So when I think about the center issue, it comes down to like, basically, can you get Miles Turner? Mm-hmm. Because the only centers that will really optimize in any of these Nets teams are 3-point shooting centers, or ones who can shoot from deep, who can sit just outside on the 3-point line on offense, be basically a long range shooter, and then maybe run in for offensive rebounds. And then on defense, it would be great if you had Miles Turner, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, and then Kyrie and Joe Harris or whatever. Yes.
Which, if, really putting on my Nets Stan Homer brain now wearing that cap, if Utah was a little bit taller, I liked a lot of what I was seeing from Yuta Watanabe. If he was 6'10", or 6'11", he could have a really serious glow up. And not to say that he can't still have a glow up.
How tall is Yuta though?
He's like 6'8" or 6'9" or something, and he definitely plays like a 4/5. I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. He could be 6'9". To look that up. But anyways, he is a really good rim defender. He does that job well. I could see him cracking the rotation. I'm going to make a bold proclamation after one preseason game, a thing you should definitely do. But there was a lot to like, and he's a lot faster than I thought. I mean, I think I went back and watched all of those YouTube videos, and I was like, it feels like he's like, am I watching these at 75% speed or something? Because he just looked a lot slower in the videos, but he had good, decent mobility. So, anyways, that's one little.
He is the classic player that we
tend
to fall in love with.
You get too excited for.
He is the Rodions Kurucs type, stretchy, athletic, chaotic, wingy, big. That we always fall in love with, and ultimately when he's out on the floor, hey, this is great. I'm glad they picked him. This is a very Marxian type signing to grab a guy who who feels like pretty good in small doses, and that's what you need. So when I was on the Daily Ding, and I wonder what you would say, I was asked by Andrew Schlecht, host of the show, which young net are Nets fans or you most excited about? And now Yuta is like 27, so he's not exactly a young net, but I think I'm out on the Cam Thomas experience a little bit.
Oh boy. Boy.
He put up 6 shots in like 12 minutes of play, which is like the most Cam Thomas thing in the world. I just wish he had, I wish we could sit him down. He could have a Looper effect. If we could have the Bruce Willis version of him to come back in time and say, dude, Cam, just dial back the shooting a little bit, amp up playmaking. You're going to have a 12-year NBA career.
Yeah.
I know that's not what I know Looper, the plot of Looper was not about whether Joseph Gordon-Levitt could be a role player for the Brooklyn Nets, but I'm imagining, by the way, we have to talk about there's going to be the Hulu show that's...
I know. What is going on with that? I only got little bits and bobs.
The cringiest possible... it's a Hulu show about, like, basically Joe Tsai. Is that...
I don't know. I mean, that's what I've heard, but I haven't seen any, like... I mean, you're the guy with the official press releases from HollywoodReporter.com.
But what was I talking about Cam Thomas? Which young net are you... if we're going to add Yuta into the mix...
Yeah.
Who are you adding on as your most sort of... Which young net, when they're on the floor, you're like, I'm interested to see what they do. And I'll give you the list. It's like David Duke. I guess Nick Claxton is still technically there. I think he should be there. Yuta, Kessler Edwards, Cam Thomas.
Are we throwing
Sharp?
Ted Sumner on there? I mean, Ted Sumner was showing me some stuff.
Ted Sumner? Is that what we're going with?
I'm going with Ted Sumner. It's Edmund for everybody who knows that. Yeah, but Ted is a nickname.
Ted Sumner sounds like a serial killer.
Yeah.
That sounds like he would have a
That's
Netflix
only because
serial.
Ted Bundy ruined Ted for everybody. Okay?
Well, what did you think of Eddie Sumner, Fort Sumner over there?
I liked it. I mean, especially like he was playing alongside Cam, and Cam was super calling his own number, and
Jesus.
and Ted was like,
he needs to stop.
And Ted was like, if that's how it's going to be, let me show you how to put this ball in the hole, dog, and and then did it.
I'm also a sucker for tall ball handlers, like the Sean Livingston types, and Eddie Two Sums has got that going on in spades. He's like a little skinny Spencer Dinwiddie vibe going on.
I know. I liked what I saw from more than the sum of his parts. Did I? No, I did.
I do want to know David Duke Jr. Give me a name pun for David Duke Jr.
I'm not touching that one.
Not touching that one.
No, I agree. Well, just to get back to the Cam Thomas thing, I mean, I hate to do this. I hate to like bury a guy while he's trying to like find himself, but it is
ruin a 20-year-old's career.
Yeah. I think part of the issue too is like Cam still hasn't kind of come to terms with the fact that he's just not tall by NBA standards. Like he might have gotten away with a lot of the stuff that he was like trying to do in college just because 6'5" means more. But like he would like, I remember one possession where he was, got an offensive rebound around 3, like improbably got an offensive rebound and then like went right back up with it and got absolutely clobbered. It was like the most like unrealistic attempt I've ever seen. He
does do that a lot. He does like, because you say he's 6'4", 6'5", like that's pretty tall for a scoring guard like him, like the traditional like Lou Williams types. Like they usually are more water buggy.
Yeah,
where he has more of that Jordan Clarkson height, if I'm thinking of Jordan Clarkson as proper height, but Cam's got a bigger build. Like
he's built like Joe Dumars, but he's got no jumper. That's the
he's like literally the opposite of Joe Dumars as a player. That's what's funny about. So Cam, I don't know. I don't know why are we talking about Cam Thomas. I don't know because I want more out of him. I think that's what it is. It's like there is potential there. He obviously has the shot creation ability. I won't call it shot making because he typically doesn't make his shots. He gets fouled at extremely high rates, which is incredible.
Yeah,
that is a gift.
Well, there's so much of it. He's so wide, like you can't help but kind of clip his hip like every time he's going to the basket.
And he does like the herky jerky sort of like Karis LeVert style, like whatever he's doing, it's kind of leaning in or leaning away, or there's all these different trajections that he's going. I just wish he would really simplify
Yeah.
And I would be interested in like a Kenny Atkinson staff getting their hands on a Cam Thomas, because like there's so much good there, but there's also like deeply embedded in his basketball soul is I'm putting up that shot.
Yeah.
I am doing the fadeaway 20-footer 2-point shot that has a 30% chance of going in, but that is my shot.
Yeah.
And if he could just zoom it in a little bit, like, because ultimately we've talked about this before. What does this team need? Right? They could use a real center like Miles Turner, right? Or they could use like a steadying, what Goran was at times last year, like a decent backup guard who could ball handle, score some off the bench, provide that pop when Kyrie goes on his 3-week sabbatical at some point, to celebrate whatever amount that he wants to celebrate New Year's Eve. They're going to need that guard to step up and play.
And it's going to be
Cam Thomas, but I don't
it's going to be TJ Warren at this point. That's the problem. He's like already too far behind in the depth chart. Like it's great and great for the team, but rough for Cam that like we actually do have some pretty decent depth now this season, especially at that like kind of combo playmaking position or like scoring position. Just like, even like, I mean, how far back is he in there in that depth chart? Like he's definitely behind Royce, definitely behind TJ Warren, definitely behind, anyway. So it's going to be tough.
Well, yeah, no, if you list sort of like by experience and you look at who's like Kevin Durant, Patty Mills, Markieff Morris, those are 3, Kyrie, Joe Harris 5, Seth Curry, TJ Warren 7, Royce O'Neal 8, Nick Claxton 9. So that's a 9-man rotation pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's going to be guys who come in and out of the rotation. Is it Edmund Fort Sumner? Is it?
Well, it's going to be Kessler Edwards over even Cam Thomas at this point, just because Kessler like knows a little bit more. Know thyself. It's really it's everyone's goal in life, and it's also your goal in basketball because ball is life, Mike. And Kessler Edwards is a little bit further along that knowing thyself journey than Cam Thomas at this moment, because he's just doing what you should do as like a kind of fringe rotation player. If that on an NBA team in year 2 or 3, which is get good at one thing. Just be known for one thing. If you can be that one thing, then that's very helpful. I mean, branding wise and also just on court effectiveness wise.
Absolutely. Be the Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that Mountain Dew Code Red did?
Got gamers. It got gamers on board.
Oh, yeah. Gamers. Yeah, I thought
who were already low T, unfortunately.
Yeah, low T. Again, the Nets at various times of the game were being blown out. The 76ers were sitting their best players. They PJ Tucker also didn't play. Daniel House also didn't play. All of those understood. I was encouraged. I guess I'm also more encouraged by what I see because I completely disregard defense at times in preseason and just focus on the offense.
Yeah, we're just trying not to get hurt. I mean, that's the goal of preseason if you're actually playing starters.
Just seeing Ben Simmons play basketball, just seeing him step on the floor and do competent things raised my season expectations a smidge. Okay. Because I don't want to lose the point here, which is going into the offseason, Ben Simmons was we were told that he was going to play in the regular season. He didn't. Postseason, he didn't. He gets back surgery, a mysterious back surgery. Have you seen the x-rays?
Mm-mm.
I haven't seen them.
Well,
they should be published.
They should be.
The boardroom.
By the Fed.
And then he does the JJ Redick interview, which is great. Nets Media Day, fantastically run by Nets PR. And then, Ben Simmons is going to play. He's going to play in Philly. That's exciting. And he played. He was the focus of the offense by design by Steve Nash to make him feel comfortable again. And it was real. And he was out there. He was doing Ben Simmons-y things. He just offers so much to this team. So if he maintains whatever he's going to be, like the 12, 5, and 5 even, that's going to mean so much to this team to have his presence out there. It's a massive amount. Whether that's better than having James Harden, I don't know. Probably not. But it's something. And, God, man, I'm going to be so GD thrilled when it's Ben Simmons. Like, I just want the Ben Simmons, Patty Mills, Joe Harris, Seth Curry and Kyrie Irving. Like, I want all tiny shooters, and Joe Harris a medium shooter, and then Ben Simmons. And I just want it to be Ben just driving to the hoop, dishing it out, pass, open shot three consistently. I don't care what they give up on the defensive end. Like, I want that sometimes.
Yeah.
To have that optionality is so exciting.
Yeah.
For this team.
And I don't know if this is like a dictate from on high, but it did seem like Ben Simmons was not either given the instruction or if he had the internal desire to just like take his man off the dribble in the half court. I think he was still very much feeling things out, and I'll be interested to see if he has that killer instinct still, or if he wants to just kind of blend into the amoeba of the offense a little bit.
I haven't seen this yet, but with back injuries,
I do.
You could feel good,
No.
you play a game, and then maybe you feel bad the next day. And I'm waiting to see if there's any reporting on Ben Simmons has back issues.
Yeah.
His back flared up.
Well, I was really looking for his jumping ability, because I feel like that's where like the true nastiest effect of a back surgery come in. Like, I remember when I used to have bunnies, Mike. Let me tell you, I used to be able to dunk the ever-loving S out of a tennis ball, okay? But that went away the day I had back surgery. That was just gone. I couldn't jump over a candlestick. And that is still true.
Is that a normal phrase?
I don't know.
Jumping over. Yeah.
Isn't there like a turn it like a Jack be nimble, Jack be quick? Something like that. Anyways.
Jack jump over. That classic.
Yeah.
Classic line.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines in all of poetry.
Yeah. Dickens. It's Dickens.
Dickens.
I don't know. That's not true.
It's Dickens. Okay.
You like that?
On the whole.
Give it to me on the hole, Mike. Lay it on
right
the hole.
on that hole.
Oh, yeah.
Amberjack that hole.
Yeah.
What would be your grade for last night's game? What would be your overall?
I'm going to give it a straight up B+. Okay? I'm going to give it a proper B+. I think like right away we made it clear like we're not trying to win this game because we're not going to feed Kyrie or KD the ball for the first quarter. Like, that's just not what we're here for. And it's a little bit about trying to get Ben Simmons easy buckets, transition stuff. We're not even going to have him like run the offense yet. He's just going to pick up his dribble at midcourt for all I care. But just getting him to go through the pacing of the game. And if that was the plan, and who knows if that's the plan or if that was just the outcome, and I'm retroactively trying to fit my narrative. Sure. It felt like a good idea, and that was what happened, and I feel good about that. So B+. Although like whatever system is even theoretically in the background that's, yet to rear its head, that wasn't there. And so that for that reason alone, it doesn't get the A that it was maybe striving for, but maybe even not.
Yeah. Like we to get the A, we do, while I support the idea to let Ben Simmons run the show, we want to see the combination of Kyrie, KD, Ben Simmons all operating. I mean, there was some of like Kyrie and KD doing a little pick and roll action and things like that. And, those are fun. It's preseason, so it's not too much. But, and also they were getting blown out. It would be nice to not see them get blown out at various times.
Yeah.
Because, scoring points and limiting the other team's points is the way to win the game. But I'm excited. Just, again, I think this is an obvious takeaway. We're not breaking podcast ground here.
Okay.
Just that, seeing Ben Simmons play basketball, him being out there on the floor, particularly against Philly, even though I know it was in Brooklyn, I'm buoyed. I'm straight up buoyed.
Mike's got his buoy back. He's buoyed up. You gotta watch
Should
out.
I do
when
the
Mike's,
next pair thing?
Mike's get his buoy back. No, let's call it here. Although how fun that would be. We got to run. We've done our 40 minutes. Mike, take us out of here.
Just 1 sec. No, I won't do it. We'll tell you guys later if anything gets different. But
well, hey, we'll put it in the Discord.
No. I want our listeners to know one thing.
I have to go.
Brian and I, but mostly me, try to get people on this podcast who play for the Brooklyn Nets. Every time that we have in our past, it wasn't because of Brooklyn Nets PR staff. I just want to let everyone know that.
This is Mike burning a bridge that the bridge never existed, but this is truly setting ablaze.
Have you seen
this baby bridge?
Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
I'm heading out on that bridge. I'm blowing it up.
You're Tom Sizemore with the bazooka shot in the lung.
Definitely a Sizemore. I'm just saying, we've done this podcast for a long time. You all have been listening to us for a long time, and we appreciate it, and we love you for that. Well, we'd also like to bring you dedicated Nets fans who've been through, if you've been with us from the beginning, you've been from the KG Paul Pierce era through the Sean Kilpatrick era to Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, and now to the KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons era. There's been a lot of bad in there. We've maintained our enthusiasm and support for the team because we're just dumb fans.
This is Mike selling himself. He's trying to build the bridge after he's just burned it already. This is the Smelts way.
All we want is just a little like, hey, here's a player interview. Just you guys, let's help out this podcast that has done a lot of work over time to promote our franchise. Again, any interview that we've gotten hasn't been because of the Brooklyn Nets. It's because of our gumption and stick-to-itiveness. And it's galling to me that this franchise has such a poor public relations strategy.
There it is. Putting it out there. Leave it like that. Mike, drop it, Mike.
I just want our listeners to enjoy their team. And that's all I'm trying to do. Trying to be the conduit between the team and the fan base. That's all we're trying to be.
I love that for us, Mike. Those are spicy takes.
Let me name names here.
Those are spicy takes, and they belong in both the podcast and the Discord. Discord.gg/glueguys. Find the link in the YouTube below, transition. Or in the Twitter bio at BKGlueGuys on Twitter. And we're on netsdaily.com. Best source for Nets news, still to this day. How much? 100 years
besides the Athletic,
100 years running, and also the Athletic, also a 100-year institution. Mike, thank you so much for having me. Bye, everybody. See you next time. See you soon.